So what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
This line has become a classic in Star Wars and has been used in many ways over the years, most recently in a series of books that takes the point of view from side and background characters throughout the Star Wars saga. I'd like to take some time myself and explore events and circumstances from a certain point of view. There were many factors that led to Anakin's downfall and ultimate turn to the dark side. Anakin was plagued with dreams about losing his mother. These dreams turned out to be premonitions. Anakin found her right before her death and got what was likely his first true taste of the dark side. He felt helpless. With all of his power, he couldn't save her. He vowed to Padme, the woman he would marry in secret, that he would become powerful enough to stop people from dying. Later, Anakin would have very similar dreams about losing Padme and their unborn child. Even his journey as a Jedi began with the very order he would serve. They rejected him. The Jedi Council denied Qui-Gon Jinn's request to take Anakin as a Padawan. Even Obi-Wan Kenobi, who would eventually be Anakin's master and best friend, initially agreed with the Council's decision. Ultimately, Anakin was trained, partially to respect Qui-Gon's last wishes, but also because the Jedi agreed Anakin was the chosen one mentioned in an old Jedi prophecy. Knowing he was something special and destined for greatness, combined with the being untrusted and alienated, had Anakin keeping the order at arm's reach. Where the Jedi failed Anakin emotionally, one man stepped in and gave him all the fulfillment he would need in that area. Sheev Palpatine, secretly Darth Sidious. He always kept an eye on Anakin and spent years metaphorically whispering in his ear, sowing seeds of doubt while appearing to be supportive of the confused boy. Palpatine spent years manipulating Anakin's fears, insecurities, and ambitions. It didn't hurt that he was from Padme's home planet and even had Padme's trust for a time. As Anakin was becoming more powerful, the Clone Wars broke out. He excelled as a warrior, but the stress of the war weighed heavily on him. He had to face countless losses in those times. Coming face to face so often with the realities of war and the darker side of the galaxy not only made him more emotional, but also had him exploring morally gray or darker areas. Obi-Wan Kenobi can justifiably be blamed for Anakin's fall to the dark side. Of course, he did play a part, but putting all the blame on him isn't fair. Obi-Wan only took Anakin on because Qui-Gon Jinn wished it. Obi-Wan wasn't ready for a Padawan. He had just graduated from being one himself. Obi-Wan greatly respected the Jedi Council and would not train Anakin in ways they would not have deemed fit, like Qui-Gon Jinn probably would have. The Jedi were also thrust into a war. The Force was fogged for the Jedi. The return of the Sith was clouding their vision. A lot of Anakin's behaviors were looked over because of the impossible circumstances the entire Jedi Order were in. This is where things take a turn. I've heard many times, and even had the thought myself a few times, that if Obi-Wan had just finished Anakin off on Mustafar, Sidious would never have been able to rebuild him as the iconic Darth Vader. That is easier said than done. I can't imagine how difficult it would be, killing someone you've helped raise from a boy into a man, you've thought of as a brother, your best friend, and even went to war with. It wasn't until I was reading the Star Wars Archives, episodes 1 through 3, that this specific point of view hit me. George Lucas himself didn't condemn Obi-Wan for not making the difficult, near impossible choice to kill Anakin. He said if it wasn't for Obi-Wan, Darth Vader would have been able to reach his full potential and dominate the galaxy. Because of his injuries, Vader was never half of what his power might have been. It always seemed to me Obi-Wan was largely responsible for the existence of Darth Vader. It never occurred to me that Obi-Wan was the reason why Vader was never unstoppable. Well, from a certain point of view. Check out this transmission next for more of my thoughts on the Star Wars galaxy.